Hi, my name's Sarah Strange, and this is my application video for the role of Learning Manager with SSE. So, why was I attracted to this role? Well, I began my career in education because I really believe in its ability and responsibility to change lives, and it has the power to transform society for the better. And when I looked into what SSE do, I realised that I massively relate to your aims and purposes. That is what I believe in. That was why I went into teaching. Um, and then on top of this, when I looked at the role, I actually have a background in the heritage industry as well. So this role would enable me to combine where I started in the heritage industry to where I now go with education. In terms of heritage, I'm massively passionate about the preservation and communication of this. It was why I did a history degree, a heritage degree even. I think it's really important to protect the past and also use that to inspire the future of communities and culture. And having worked in that industry, I've witnessed firsthand the challenges that organisations face in terms of being sustainable and attracting visitors and keeping going. And I'd love to be part of something that supports this industry and actually really shows that its contribution to society is valued. So, question 2, what are the key elements of a transformational learning programme? Well, I've done some building bricks here to sort of illustrate how I feel. So the first is think about the why, obviously. Why are we delivering this? What do we hope to develop? Who is it for? Think about your audience. Although programmes need a structure, they've got to be reactive to learners' needs. Your learner is at the centre of your programme, and they need to be regularly reviewed and led by the learner. My current maths and English programmes that I design, they adapt week by week all the time, depending on the students' needs. And when the students have completed their work experience unit in February, we then go back to the learning programme and we think, okay, so what do you want to get out of this course based on what you've done in your work experience? Do you now want your future career to go in a different direction? Do we need to be looking at different elements of your maths and English based on this? So as well as that, I always review and explore what current trends there are that we can do to make the content more relevant to them, to keep that audience inspired. It's a fluid thing. Why are we doing this? When I design specific activities for the course, so looking at it on a more detailed level, I always aim to make these active and relevant to what the students are doing. So I want them to go away remembering what we did in class. So it needs to be dynamic and purposeful. So they're lodged within memory. For example, I taught English modules last year on Black Lives Matter and Greta Thunberg to make it relevant to what was going on in society. And when we were learning about place value in maths, which can be a bit of a stodgy topic sometimes, we looked at the high earners of people in the entertainment industry, which was very amusing to my 16 to 18-year-olds. This is something I'm very passionate about, building in time for critical reflection. So I actually plan for this explicitly. I plan in effective, open questioning opportunities into every lesson, getting students to not only reflect on their work that they're doing, but also their responses to it. How do you feel at the end of the session based on how you felt at the beginning or throughout at different set points, for example. My learners are very vulnerable at 16 to 18-year-olds who have had very negative experiences at school, and they come to me with quite low confidence. So I encourage them to reframe all of that and think about how they might feel differently now we're approaching their learning in a fresh way. The next thing that's important to do is to develop discussion techniques. And again, this is something that relates quite well to my vulnerable learners because it encourages them to be constructive and encourage peer reflection. I'm very keen on that supportive role in the classroom. We're a team, we're growing together, and let's have a chat about this. My students come to my course feeling like they don't have very valid opinions, low confidence, and I have to build them up again and encourage them to respond to one another and discuss, but also develop that a bit more and say, hang on, that's your opinion, but what are your reasons for that now? You've got to back up what you think. And then at the end of the course, a lot of people would do this. They'd review how it had gone. I believe that this review should be continuous. All the time. You should be adapting the course during sessions, after sessions, basing on the direction that your learners are taking. Are we helping them be successful? You can do this through the observation of learners, the work that they're doing, asking them for feedback, obviously ongoing assessment opportunities, and then thinking, do we need to realign this why? Are we doing what we set out to do here all the time? Go back to it. Are we helping our learners be successful? And because of this, your learning programme needs to be fluid. It can't be set in stone. For example, I had one student who needed to do a speaking and listening assessment, and he just kept hitting this barrier, and he was not inspired by what we were doing at all. So I said, okay, we can achieve the same aims by doing about skateboarding, which is something you're passionate about. And straight away, we unlocked that potential, and it was great. He achieved what he needed to. We went back to this why, but I wasn't set in stone about the way we were going to do it. The bedrock of all of this, however, and this is where my roof comes in, is trust. You have to start the course with learners feeling they're in a safe space where they can be their true selves, so they're open to this change and growth that they're going to experience throughout all of this. So my relationship as the facilitator, and also that peer relationship in that team, needs to be built on trust. It needs to be a safe space. Question 3, I've felt the most in my element when I've set my learners on a path that they explore for themselves. So when I've become the catalyst, I believe that the less I do, the better. So recently, the most, I suppose, clear example of that was when I used the Stephen Lawrence case to help some of my very nervous students work on their discussion skills. And my students, they come from very predominantly white neighbourhoods, and it was very clear to me, getting to know them, that they never saw racism as a real issue. It was something that they'd never had to deal with. And then we explored the story of Stephen Lawrence, and it encouraged some self-reflection and some peer questioning, and we had some really incredible moments where their outlook was completely transformed, and it set them off on this new path. And all I'd done was create that opportunity and brought in some materials and given them some time to start this process. And then they had the freedom and space to explore it. And some students came back to me later and said that this had inspired them to begin a dialogue with their family about racism. And what more can you want as a teacher? Actually, that they've taken what they've done in the classroom and taken it home. And there's also that light bulb moment where they make those connections and they explain their thinking to you. That's pretty special too. So that's me. Thanks for listening, and I look forward to hearing from you. Take care. Bye-bye.